Well, Sri Lanka's leader has insisted that he is ready to investigate allegations of war crimes here and human rights abuses, declaring, "We have nothing to hide. It's a free country." Before hurrying away from the Commonwealth summit in Sri Lanka, David Cameron threatened to push for an international inquiry into the claims if President Rajapaksa's government does not hold its own credible, independent investigation by March. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Miller managed to put a few questions to the President at his press conference earlier today.
The Prime Minister who promised to shine a spotlight had his moment in the limelight the morning after his frosty one-to-one with President Mahinda Rajapaksa. David Cameron kicked the hornet's nest, demanding his host launch a credible, transparent and independent investigation into war crimes allegations.
Let me be very clear, if that investigation is not completed by March, then I will use our position on the UN Human Rights Council to work with the UN Human Rights Commissioner and call for a full, credible and independent international inquiry.
This ultimatum is now in line with that of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. Both of them have visited the former conflict zone in the north of this island. Yesterday, the Prime Minister was mobbed by ethnic Tamils whose rights have been trampled since government forces vanquished Tamil separatists 4 years ago. Mr. Cameron said the voice of the Tamil people needs to be listened to. In Colombo today, Commonwealth presidents and prime ministers held a retreat in a posh hotel. This summit has been a disaster. Nearly half the leaders who were to have come didn't show up. The host of the next heads of government meeting has pulled out in disgust over this one being hosted here. So when the president held a news conference, everyone knew what was coming. But the killer question was asked first, not by a foreign reporter, but by a Sri Lankan journalist.
Today, British Prime Minister David Cameron said, if the Sri Lankan government fails to complete the investigations into war crimes or alleged war crimes by March next year, he will push for an international war crime inquiry.
That is his view. It's a democratic country. Democratic, I mean, we are all equal. And they can say what they want. People who are in glass houses must not throw stones.
He looked annoyed.
I would like to ask you whether you will indeed launch an investigation into war crimes, alleged war crimes in this country, as requested today by the British Prime Minister and also by the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. And if so, how far up the chain of command will that investigation go?
We have appointed a committee in Parliament to look into some matters. And we have appointed a commission for disappearance and missing persons commission. They have already started investigation. So we have done what we can do.
His answer lasted for 9 minutes. He talked of how he'd ended a long and bloody war.
Is it a crime? To save their lives? Every day for last 30 years.